Do you know what goes on in a courtroom when a convict gets sentenced? They go crazy. And here are the most crazy courtroom moments ever caught on camera. A convicted American murderer became infamous for his involvement in a horrifying crime at Chardon High School in Ohio on February 27, 2012. The Ohio Police Department received numerous distress calls from teachers and students reporting an active shooter in the building.
High school, we had shots fired, gunshots, multiple gunshots.
High school, we need police up here. There's someone in the building with a gun.
According to police reports, Lane entered the school and made his way to the cafeteria, where he unleashed a barrage of gunfire, resulting in the deaths of 3 students and severely injuring 3 others. The impact of Lane's actions extended far beyond the physical harm inflicted that day, as the entire community of Chardon High School was left with an indescribable pain that will endure for eternity. Listen to this boy.
Glances of your friends laying all over the place, there's blood, there's people screaming, everybody's running in different directions, and you're just trying to...
Who saw the gruesome onslaught by TJ Lane. He was another eyewitness who can't forget the gun Lane was holding.
I saw a kid holding a gun, pointing it towards a group of kids. I never looked at his face, I just looked at the gun.
Lane's actions sent shockwaves throughout the community, leaving a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals. Swiftly apprehended by authorities, Lane faced a series of charges, including 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. However, what made his case even more disturbing was his complete lack of remorse. Throughout the trial, Lane refused to cooperate with his attorneys, appearing in court wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the word killer, and even displaying a vulgar gesture towards the grieving families of the victims during the sentencing hearing. He even made a shocking statement to the courtroom.
Saying pull the trigger, the killer's done, masturbates to memory.
The judge presiding over the case, Judge David Fury, aptly described Lane's behavior as heinous, unprovoked, and senseless. In response to his despicable actions, Lane was sentenced to 3 life sentences in prison without the possibility of parole. Astonishingly, Lane was just smiling throughout the court scene and showed no emotion, not even a flicker of remorse, as the sentence was handed down. His behavior was that of an absolute psychopath. Unlike TJ Lane's nonchalant behavior, Ricky Ham burst out in reactions. He faced charges for numerous thieveries in Ohio, having been on the run for looting local convenience stores at midnight, and even escaped with extra cash. Yet his crime spree came to a halt when he decided to target John's drive-thru. In the surveillance footage, we can see the shop owner preparing to close for the night, unaware that an armed Ricky was creeping inside the building. As Ricky made his way towards the door, he was confronted by the armed owner, who fired shots to scare him off. After the failed robbery attempt, the shop owner immediately called the police to report the incident, resulting in the man being shot. Ricky hesitated for a few days before finally deciding to check himself into the hospital to adjust the bullet wounds he acquired during the incidents at John's drive-thru. It was at the hospital that the police apprehended him and began questioning him about the events of that night. Ricky received a 40-year penalty due to being guilty of multiple robberies in Springfield, Ohio. In a shocking explosion of emotions, he threw bottles of excrement and urine at his own lawyer, leaving an everlasting impact on his case. Ricky met extra charges for throwing bodily waste at his lawyer and deputies in the courtroom. He was also charged with 5 counts of harassment. These charges, along with impeding official business and retaliation, worsened his legal situation and future possibilities for parole. Ricky thought he didn't deserve the 40-year life sentence and burst out like a madman, but the next convict was well-deserved. In Rhode Island, Carpio, an American murderer, faced charges for killing a detective at a Providence police station in 2005. The incident took place during an interrogation involving an 85-year-old woman named Melanie Gatta, where Carpio requested water, leading to a fatal outcome. Tragically, Carpio managed to grab the detective's gun and attempted to flee by jumping out of a window, resulting in a struggle with the police. Despite being recaptured, Carpio sustained injuries during his escape, prolonging the dramatic turn of events. During his sentencing, Carpio appeared in court wearing a mask designed to prevent him from spitting or biting others. His face was visibly red, bruised, and swollen, causing his family members to scream and accuse the police of brutality. They believe that the authorities forced him to wear the mask in an attempt to conceal all the alleged revenge beatings that Carpio received behind closed doors. In fact, Carpio's aunt even went on live television to voice her concerns about the treatment he had endured.
And he didn't deserve this, and he needed help, and we couldn't get it. We tried and tried. It's police brutality. He was mentally ill.
Despite the claims, Chief Dean Esserman argued that Carpio sustained his injuries by jumping from the third-floor interview room and resisting arrest. The FBI conducted their own investigation into the police's actions, ultimately concluding that excessive force was not used.
No civil rights violation when injuries are incident to arrest.
On June 27, 2006, Carpio was convicted of murdering Detective Allen and stabbing Madeline despite claiming insanity. He received a life sentence without parole, initially showing little emotion. However, he later apologized in an effort to gain favor with the jury.
Every day I face the facts of what I did and what happened.
Carpio argued that he was mentally ill during his crime, but the court dismissed his claims. Despite Carpio's actions, how does he stack up against Jaleel Smith Riley? On November 16, 2013, Jaleel participated in an armed robbery in Norwood. Alongside two other men, they approached a parked car where Portia Brooks and her boyfriend, Aaron Martin Smith, were sitting. Jaleel used a handgun to knock on the car window and force Smith out of the vehicle. Meanwhile, Jaleel searched through Smith's pockets and demanded his money. After taking all of Smith's cash, Jaleel tragically shot him in the head, causing permanent brain damage. Not satisfied there, Jaleel then leaned into the car and fired at Brooks, who was sitting inside. Brooks sadly passed away 3 days later from her injuries. Fortunately, Smith survived the shooting but suffered serious injuries. Prior to the judge announcing Jaleel's sentence, Portia's family had the opportunity to address the jury and the man responsible for their daughter's death. Portia's mother, Sharon Brooks, brought a box containing her daughter's ashes to the courtroom, expressing how Jaleel had not only ruined her life, but also taken away her identity as a mother of three. Jaleel, before being sentenced, displayed a heartfelt apology in court, seemingly as a final attempt to express remorse. In a final attempt to salvage his reputation, Jaleel's lawyer made one last plea. However, Judge Charles Kubicki, presiding over the case in Hamilton County Court, rejected Jaleel's request. Consequently, the remorseful defendant was sentenced to life imprisonment without the chance for parole. The 23-year-old criminal, who is now confined behind bars, crumbled to the courtroom floor upon hearing his fate. Furthermore, Smith Riley was handed an extra 11-year sentence for an associated attempted murder offense. Regardless of your opinion on the severity of Smith Riley's case, it pales in comparison to the notorious case of Antonio Barber. This 14-year-old boy appeared in court for the murder of his 78-year-old great-grandmother, Barbara Olson. Instead of recounting the gruesome details of the crime, let's listen to this killer's confession firsthand.
I tried to scare her to get money and then use force if needed. An attack, I guess to kill.
The boys concealed weapons in their pants before hitching a ride to Antonio's grandmother's house. But what unfolded once they entered was truly surprising.
He knew I was on the run and she said she was going to call my mom. He nodded and then I took the first swing.
Okay, and when you say that you took the first swing is with the hand axe?
Yes, sir.
Antonio confessed to attempting to place his great-grandmother's body in a car trunk, but ultimately left it in the garage covered with a blanket. Judy, Barbara's granddaughter, was the one who found the body and immediately sought help from a neighbor to contact the authorities.
Please send an ambulance and the police. My mother is laying in the garage and there's a lot of blood and there's a blanket over her head.
Judy and her neighbor were in a state of panic as they desperately reached out for assistance in their attempt to rescue Barbara. Antonio and his partner, on the other hand, decided to use the $155 they had to indulge in drugs and enjoy some pizza. During the trial, it was evident that Antonio expressed remorse for the murder and pleaded for forgiveness. Despite his apologies, Antonio still expressed deep regret for his actions. As he continued to cry, Antonio received a life sentence, leaving everyone in shock. However, if you thought Antonio's case was shocking, the case of Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari gives it a tough competition. Seth and Tatiana, the parents of 10-month-old Marianne Welch, are currently facing charges for first-degree murder in Michigan after Marianne tragically died on August 2, 2018 in Solon Township, Kent County, due to malnutrition and dehydration caused by neglect. Child Protective Services have been involved with the family since 2014, when THC was found in the system of their firstborn child. Shockingly, at the time of her death, Mary weighed only 8 pounds. Despite her deteriorating condition, her parents refused to seek medical aid, citing religious reasons and a distrust of the medical system. The initial investigation of the family home revealed unhygienic conditions with evidence of vermin, insects, and neglect. The autopsy confirmed that Mary suffered from chronic malnutrition, as her parents had been withholding food and water from her. The level of neglect was further evident, and Seth's call to 911.
And he said, when you found her, she was already believed to be deceased, right? Yes.
In court, the prosecutors made a point to showcase the parents' severe neglect of their 10-month-old baby.
You didn't know that. And don't tell me you didn't intend that because you didn't get her little tush out of that crib. You left her in there. You ignored her because she was an inconvenience.
The judge's verdict shocked Seth, as Fusari was sentenced to life without parole for first-degree murder and an additional 15 to 30 years for first-degree child abuse. Seth was speechless, while Fusari cried uncontrollably. The couple's actions were absolutely appalling, but Jaleel Hoskins' response appears to surpass it in every way imaginable. Before we get to our last clip, be sure to subscribe if you are enjoying the video and want to see more like this one. Jaleel Hoskins was in court for the murder of his girlfriend, Latrice Mays. The mother of 5 vanished without a trace in March of 2013, leaving her family desperate for answers. Despite the sudden nature of her disappearance, Hoskins initially claimed no connection to the murder.
I have nothing to do with the murder. I have nothing to do with the disappearance.
In a surprising turn of events, Hoskins swiftly altered his plea upon hearing the compelling testimonials and evidence presented against him. The pivotal moment came when his very own cousin took the stand, adding an unexpected twist to the proceedings.
After the domestic or whatever happened, I guess she, after they left, she said she was going to tell the police that he stabbed her about doing it.
Doing what?
Killing her. I guess he choked her or something.
Did he say he choked her?
Yeah.
Next, a dear friend of Hoskins stepped forward to testify.
He said, I did her, I need some help. I can't carry her by myself.
The police dashcam footage captured them responding to a call from Latrice, who accused Hoskins of abusing her. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Hoskins changed his plea and admitted guilt to the murder of Latrice Mays and messing with the evidence. Hoskins, a repeat offender, feared Latrice would report his assault on the father of her children, leading him to take her life. Initially charged with open murder, Hoskins received a maximum life sentence without parole for his crimes. Mays cooperated with law enforcement out of fear of losing custody of her children, leading to Hoskins' conviction. As a habitual offender, Hoskins was sentenced to life imprisonment, the harshest penalty possible. However, before the police could intervene and restrain him, he launched a violent attack on the podium. If you believe those with the most disrespectful defendants and shocking courtroom moments, I challenge you to check out another savage video on our channel.